This video will show you how to find the average or mean value of a function. If you think about any function, if you want to find the average value, to find the average, you'd have to take the sum of every single value along the function and divide by the total number of values. Well, this is seemingly impossible to do because there are an infinite amount of values, so you can't add an infinite amount of values and then divide by infinity. So instead we have a formula. If f is integrable on the closed interval a to b, is average or mean value on the closed interval a to b is this. The average of f is equal to 1 divided by b minus a times the integral from a to b of f of x dx. Let me show you an example. If we want to find the average value of f of x is equal to 4 minus x squared on the closed interval of 0 to 3, and then we want to know if f actually takes on this value at some point in the given interval. So I'm going to use this formula here. 1 over b minus a. b is our upper bound, so our upper bound here is 3, minus a, which is our lower bound, so minus 0, times the integral of a to b, so 0 to 3, f of x. Our f of x is 4 minus x squared dx. This part I can just do in my head. 3 minus 0 is 3, so this is 1 over 3 times. To evaluate this, right now we'll use a graphing calculator. In the next video I'll show you how to do it by hand. Using the graphing calculator such as Desmos, you can type this in. On Desmos, you're going to type in INT, which will then give you this symbol here. There'll be a blinking space for you to type in the lower and upper bounds. Then you have to make sure you put parentheses. It won't calculate the value without parentheses around the function, and then your dx, and it'll give you the value of the function. In this case, the value of the function is 3. So altogether, we get 1. So the average value of this function on this closed interval is 1. The second part of the question asked if f actually takes on this value at some point. So we have to figure out where it takes on this value. So here's our function, f of x, 4 minus x squared. So the average of f of x is equal to 1. So we want to know when this is going to take on the value of 1. So I'm going to solve this for x. I end up with x squared is equal to 3, therefore x is equal to root 3. And root 3 is on this closed interval from 0 to 3. So we can say that we can conclude that f actually does take on this value. It takes on that value when x is root 3 within that closed interval. Now there's actually a theorem that states that if f is continuous on the closed interval from a to b, then at some point c in a to b, f of c, so the output of that value, is equal to the average of that function. So here's what this is saying. If we have a closed interval from a to b, so here's some random function, or some function f of x, the distance from a to b is b minus a, some value f of c, which would be right here, so there's our c value, does lie within the function. So our average here is c, so the average is this shaded in region. The average value of this function is f of c, which will lie within the two bounds. And that is our mean value theorem.